Hello, welcome to my broadcast. So the show, right, is at least for now, Dion's Daily Dose, right? Daily Dose Dion, Daily Dose with Dion. We're still kind of tossing the names around. There's some ones that people like, some ones that people don't. If you have better ideas, better names, then I'm willing to listen. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I have some crazy stuff today, right? So we have heard from the Supreme Court on the Wisconsin decision. Now I'm going to try to share this screen. Let's see here. Yay, it works. All right. So Supreme Court grants request to curtail extended absentee voting in Wisconsin. Now, if you haven't seen this story, it's pretty wild, right? There was this big deal where the people in power wanted to basically restrict voting, extend voting, extend it for a little while. But you can see here that, of course, the infamous, right, RBG, basically the same ones that always are against anything, says, while I do not doubt the good faith of my colleagues, the court's order, I fear, will result in massive disenfranchisement, Ginsburg wrote. A voter cannot deliver for postmarking a ballot she has not received. Yet tens of thousands of voters who timely requested ballots are unlikely to receive them by April 7th, the court's postmark deadline. Now, my question here's my question. Is there an issue with the post office that we're not being told? Is there an issue that the post office isn't delivering ballots? Because that's the only reason that I can think of that these people wouldn't have gotten their ballots in time. Just saying. Republicans asked the Supreme Court on Saturday to freeze a ruling from a federal judge in Madison, Wisconsin that extended the state's deadline to return absentee ballots from April 7th to April 13th, but declined to delay in-person voting. State GOP lawmakers appealed to the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, which declined Friday to put the district court ruling on hold. In their request to Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Republicans said the extension of absentee voting was a, quote, deeply consequential and disruptive change. Now, one thing I do want to show you, right? This is from CBS News. This is from Slate. Look at the headlines on Slate. By a 5-4 vote, SCOTUS lets Wisconsin throw out tens of thousands of ballots. The conservative majority just approved one of the most brazen acts of voter suppression in modern times. The most brazen acts of voter suppression in modern times. Look, I don't know if I go as far as to call it voter suppression. I think that's a bit ridiculous. I'm going to give you the links in the comments so that you can go and read these. But it just really reflects how different the press is, right, when it comes to reporting on stuff, and how it's more about a commentary than reporting the news, right? CBS, at least, here's the link for the CBS article. Thanks to Paul. Hi, Paul. Thanks to Paul for sharing these with me. And then I'll put the link for the Slate article in there as well. I find it interesting again that Slate is just so blatant as far as partisanship, right? Instead of reporting, look, here's what these people say, here's what these people say. The headline itself is, they're anti this or anti that. It's silliness. Did you guys catch the coronavirus briefing today? I know, many people just haven't had a chance to watch it yet, or maybe we'll watch it later. But there was one particular moment in it that I found highly amusing. I'm looking for the clip. When I find it, I'll make sure to provide a link to it. But there was a part where the reporter asked Trump, right, about the post office and how he was basically wanting to pull the funding from the bill for the post office. And they're like, basically they asked him flat out, aren't you concerned that you'll be responsible for the demise of the post office? And Trump goes, oh, here we go. The post office, it's now my fault, right? It's all my fault. The post office has been bleeding billions of dollars for years, but it's my fault that the post office is going to go under. I hope I can find that clip. I couldn't track it down yet. I don't know if it's not on. I looked on YouTube. I'm going to check some other spots, and if I can get it, I'm going to share it to you because it's just. I don't blame him. Like every time you turn around, there's a new issue, right? There's a new thing that Trump is responsible for, and the latest one is he's responsible for the demise of the post office. That's of course the spin. And he says, we have these companies, what companies we're talking about that are coming and dumping these packages off, and they're not being charged what they should be. Basically, the post office loses money every time they deliver packages for Amazon and some of these other delivery companies. So why, right? And there's many reasons that are involved in this, not the least of which is Bezos's deep connections. He's the one who has been able to make this happen. Trump has called it out before. He's told people, hey, Amazon's getting over on the post office, and nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to do anything about it. So of course, when he says, why are we spending, why do we want to dump more money into the post office when they're failing? Of course, their response is, oh, you're killing the post office. You're responsible for the demise of the post office. So as you can see behind me, right, I got a poster. There we go. I got a poster in for here. I like The Mandalorian. I've watched it. I was very iffy right in the beginning. I was like, oh, they're coming out with a Disney thing on Disney Plus. They're coming out with a Star Wars thing. Their record on Star Wars has not been good. It's too much wokeness, too much political commentary in it. Instead of just focusing on Star Wars and making it good like it used to be, I'm personally a fan of the original. The first original 3 movies I thought were amazing. The next 3, the so-called episodes 1, 2, and 3, less so, and after that it's just been, in my opinion. But I was pleasantly surprised when it came to The Mandalorian. I thought it was a great show. My lovely wife loves Baby Yoda, which I don't care. The guy's like, it's not Yoda. We know it's not Yoda, dude, but we don't want to call it anything else. We're going to call it Baby Yoda. Paul says, I can't hate him for that comment. It's truthful. Right. I mean, Trump's not responsible for the demise of the post office. But so people want to talk about it's not Yoda. Stop calling it Baby. I guess he got all mad at the guy who made the show. Got all mad because he's like, it's not Yoda. Whatever. We're gonna call it Baby Yoda. That's the child. That's what it's called, right? The child. People know what we're talking about when we say Baby Yoda. She calls him Baby Yoda. She isn't my wife. That's just the way it is. That's what you're gonna call him, and that's who he is. She's a huge fan of that part. The rest of the show she can do without. She's like, meh. But that part she really likes. So I had to get something because this is her space. This is her office. Even though I'm borrowing the board, I still have to, get things that she appreciates and that goes with her kind of dynamic. So that's why I got the poster there, because it still represents something I like, but it's mostly the part that she likes. So We got starting to get it spruced up for you, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit. Get some more things to look at in here. I'm going to try to get a little more decoration going on. Again, try to finish the painting and then put the trim up. So I want to share something that I just found out about. It's going to take me a minute to bring it up, but I think it's worth it. Let me get this. Let me get this link for you guys. It is for an executive order for Michigan City that the mayor here, Dwayne Perry, has put in a curfew. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to drop it into the comments, and I'm also going to share this screen so I can show you the executive order here. It is a curfew that is going to, there we go. I hope you can, apparently I can't share it to Periscope, which is basically Twitter, but everybody else can see it, and I'll add it later. Hopefully you can read this. So basically, it's declaring a public health emergency. Yeah, we knew that. We already had that. Blah, 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 blah. It's the same, whereas stuff that you always see. Whereas the World Health Organization declared it a public health emergency, right? The governor, what? Yeah, here's the part that it gets interesting, right? Paragraph 3 and paragraph 14b of Executive Order number 20-18 add new provisions for conducting retail purchases of goods or services, and also regulations for retail businesses, right? In conducting retail purchases, all individuals in the state should postpone making in-person purchases of goods and services unless and until such items are needed for sustenance, health, education, or employment. In other words, only buy what you need when you need it. Don't stock up. Don't buy anything in advance. Let's, by all means, wait till we're out of absolutely everything before we go to the store. B, all individuals in the state should use online or call-in ordering of goods and services with either delivery or curbside pickup to the greatest extent practicable. There's not that many places that do curbside pickup, especially in necessary items. Yeah, there's some delivery, there's some places that do it, but in instances where an individual must visit a retail business, an individual should limit the number and frequency of retail businesses visited to purchase goods and services. And D, all individuals in the state should limit the number of household members who travel to and enter stores for the purpose of making necessary purchases to the minimum necessary. In other words, only send who you need to the store to get what you need when you need it. Here's essential businesses and operations, right? Retail businesses providing the necessities of life include grocery stores, supermarkets, supercenters, or mass merchandisers, provided they have a sizable food/grocery section, such as Meijer and Walmart. Specialty food stores, certified farmers markets, farm and produce stands, convenience stores and gas stations, pharmacies, auto sales, auto supply, auto maintenance or repair, farm equipment, construction equipment, bicycle shops, hardware and supply stores, office supply stores, pet supply stores, club stores, provided they have a sizable food/grocery section, such as Sam's Club or Costco. Building material and supply stores, ergo Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot. Retail businesses providing the necessities of life as described above may remain open to the public under the following conditions and restrictions. Such businesses should limit the number of customers in their facility at any given time to achieve the CDC's required social distancing. Two, such businesses should limit their hours of operation and consider implementing separate operating hours for the elderly and other vulnerable customers. So far, that's like, I agree with that part. Absolutely. You should have special hours for the elderly because they can't fight with people. It should be early in the morning because they're usually able to, they get up earlier than me. But anyway, such businesses shall comply with social distancing and sanitation of applicable areas and other mitigation measures to protect its employees and the public. As of 11:59 p.m. on April 7th, 2020, all other retail businesses not included above as selling necessities of life may remain open only for online or call-in ordering with delivery or curbside pickup. These retail businesses shall comply with social distancing and sanitation of applicable areas and other mitigation measures to protect its employees and the public. Blah, 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 right? It goes on where it says, yeah, there's, has seen an increased presence of Illinois residents. Michigan City prides itself on being a destination for out-of-state guests who travel to our city to enjoy our lakefront. What? Seriously? We're talking about shutting stuff down and you're worried about language to make sure that, people, it's insane. It's insane. I have not seen, he asked if I saw Donald Rainwater's Facebook Live here. I have not seen that yet. I actually didn't get a chance to watch it. I was setting up for the live show. I was finishing. I think I was actually finishing up something outside when you said that. Hi, Chris. Hey, while I have you, Chris, would you be interested in doing the show at some point? I want to get local officials, people who actually know what they're talking about, rather than people who are just, kind of running for office, or, people like to have you as a guest. So Paul says, government playing faves. I agree. It really is silly how you can stay open, but you can't. You're allowed to have people in, but you're not. Once again, we're seeing really just, it's mind-boggling how many people are okay with allowing their rights to be trampled on and government to say and do whatever they want. Yeah, now that, put it this way, more than a lot of these people that are all over social media, in some cases all over the news. But I think it'd be a good time. Have a fun conversation about stuff. So awesome. I'll hold you to that. Sweet. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. For those who maybe can't watch right now, Timothy said, hey, Dion, you got my vote this year. I appreciate that. And look, I win this and I don't do my job like you guys think I need to do my job. Vote for the next person in 2 years, these people that go to Washington and live there and stop working for their constituents almost immediately, it does. It irritates me and it makes me sick. So I forgot. So let me put this back up on the screen because I want you guys to see this part. Right down here, whereas in an effort to attempt to flatten the curve, slow the spread. So here in the following public health and safety measures be implemented. Establish rules/regulations for all essential retail businesses in the city of Michigan City, limiting the number of customers in an establishment at any given time. Establish a city-wide curfew. A curfew. Temporary closure of Washington Park and Pullman Park. Require out-of-state residents who have second homes in Michigan City, Indiana to self-quarantine upon arrival to Michigan City for 14 days and temporarily prohibit the use of commercial lodging, including but not limited to hotels and motels. and all short-term rentals, including but not limited to Airbnb and VRBO in Michigan City, Indiana for vacationing and leisure. Yeah, so they're instituting a curfew and telling businesses what they can and can't do. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm going to draw. Yeah, you got the link for that. I recommend you go and read it. We're just like, have we lost our minds? Like, I don't see the number of cases skyrocketing as would be necessary, in my opinion, to even talk about instituting. What? Yeah. The wife says, right. Yeah, Christopher Wells just made a fantastic point. Thought you guys just elected a Republican. You know, I haven't really said much about Dwayne Perry as the mayor of Michigan City. He was a Democrat, right? And then he ran as a Republican and he got elected. So technically, Michigan City elected their first Republican in 44 years, right, as mayor. But the decisions that he's made since taking office have really made me wonder whether he's an actual Republican. I will say, I think that overall, I think it's going to be damaging to the party. I think anybody running as a Republican is, after this, they're going to point to him and go, well, what about what he did this and what about that? We're going to get lumped in for this, and there are some things that he's done that maybe I agree with. There are some things that I don't agree with. Timothy said, it's sad we are giving up our civil liberties all under the guise of public safety and health. Very scary box we are letting them open and implement. Exactly. That's the whole point. Is look how easy it is for the government to suddenly take everything, to decide where you can shop, what you can do. And now when you can go out, where you can go, no, exactly. Michael said Gestapo on the loose. Yeah. Jack says, like money never sleeps, neither does the virus. What does time of day matter? That's exactly it. We're talking about people being told, oh, you can't go out at 10 o'clock because why exactly? Why 10 p.m. versus 10 a.m.? What's the difference? I'm here to tell you, if I get pulled over for being out, because my son works, I have to take him back and forth to work. He doesn't have his own vehicle. He has a permit. He doesn't have his license yet. I kind of hope, honestly, I get pulled over and they ask me, where are you going? Because I will tell them wherever I want. This is the United States of America. And last I checked, the Constitution has not been repealed. It blows my mind that we're okay with this. And I know y'all are not. I know y'all are, everybody here is just as against it as I am, right? But we have so many people on social media and talking heads on television that are like, oh yeah, this is for the greater good, right? Paul actually, I think it was Paul, he was talking to somebody that actually said F the Constitution, right? Because the Constitution should be suspended while there's a public health risk. No, I stated it before, I state it now. It's only in the times of greatest danger and greatest strife that I believe the Constitution is the most important, right? And this is one of them. Jack says, after sunset, wind settles, less chance of broadcasting the virus. Chris says, wait until they take our tax money and pay for shops that they consider not essential. Yeah, that's the other thing, is think about all these places that they're shutting down, right? That they're saying, no, you can't have a business right now because you're not essential. And there were, okay. Yeah, and MX Cartoons, a good Facebook group, by the way. But there are people that are actively saying we are okay. We're okay with having our civil liberties suspended as long as it keeps people safe. Okay, so what? There are times when, this is one of them, when we are in the most danger, when we have the most chance of being at risk for anything, but especially, yeah, there's a virus, yeah, people get sick, but I didn't see near this level of insanity, overreaction, any of that when we had SARS, when we had many other, the flu. Every year kills more people than this. But speaking of the flu, have you guys noticed how much of a drop in the numbers the flu has had, right, as far as the number of people who have died? Because we have all these diseases, all these incidents, and there are memes aplenty about it, but it's a serious thing. We have these people that are dying from many other causes, right? They're labeled as deaths of COVID. Now, why? Why is that? It's so that they can pad the numbers, and it's so that they can, cause fear. We have elections that are being postponed or altered. We have people being told, oh, you're a non-essential employee, you're a non-essential business, you can't be out. Churches are told, no, you can't. They arrested a pastor in Florida for holding church. What? My point to all this is, okay, so if we can say laws, right, are supposed to prevent injury, death, whatever, and we can shut down stuff. Yeah, Michael, this is actually a really good point. Michael says the Constitution was created to create government and limit it, right? Not to limit the people. The Constitution is for times and situations that are unpopular, not for the popular situations. That's an excellent way to put it. That's what it's about. The Constitution isn't for the easy times, right? Laws aren't for the easy times, but really, the ruling law of the land is the Constitution. It wasn't created for happy times. It wasn't created for, hopefully it leads to happy times, but it was a very unpopular situation that caused its creation. I mean, there was a war. There was, people died, of course. That's the times when I believe it's most important for us to exercise our rights. For now, we have free speech, but how long until that gets taken away? We've already seen it's under assault, right? We've already seen people that get shut down, right? The cancel culture, because they say things that are unpopular. They say things that, these people don't agree with, so they're not allowed to speak. No, I'm going to say a lot of things that aren't popular. I'm going to say a lot of things that the cancel culture isn't going to like, but I have the right to say them. That's just, that's just the way it is. Chris says debates are canceled. Yeah, man. Chris worked really hard, right? He got a Republican debate all set up. He got the Hobart Arts Theater. We were going to have the debate on the 30th. It just passed. And man, we were all excited about it, right? And then this thing comes down, and all of a sudden, we can't do anything. We have social distancing. We can't get together and have this debate. I put out the idea of maybe doing, some kind of virtual something. But so far, I've only heard back from 2 people, one of which was no. So it is what it is. Michael also said that he was trying to get a virtual debate going, which I think would be awesome. Sign me up. I'm all for that. Paul says we don't seem to need it when things are up. Right. That's the thing. When things are going, well and smoothly and awesome, the Constitution isn't as critical, right? Because everybody's getting along. Kumbaya, happy-go-lucky. But when we really start to have problems, when we really start to have issues like the government telling us what we can and can't do, like the government saying, where we can shop, what we can buy. Like, seriously, think about that. You can't go. They don't want you going to the store for non-essential goods. And look, I get the methodology behind it. I get the reasoning behind it. But we have massive government overreach, massive overstepping of bounds where these people are telling us what we can and can't buy, where we can go, what time we can go there. No. No, last I checked, this was the United States of America, where I don't need travel papers to get in my car and go to the store because I'm out of milk, right? I'm out of milk. I go into the store to get milk. Or, well, you know what? So I use my wife's laptop because my regular computer doesn't have a camera, right? I don't have a webcam for it. It's a desktop, not a laptop. So her laptop, this is the one that I use for the webcam so that I can do this. But I can use my phone, right? I could use the camera on my phone, but I don't really like the dimensions and all that. And I don't think it's as good as the camera on this personally. But what I said was, I don't have a good holder anyway, and I'm probably not considered an essential good. So I don't want to get arrested for going to the store and picking up a phone holder. How ridiculous does that even sound right now? That the USA, in this country, that you could potentially get a ticket or something else for going to the store for a, quote, non-essential item. Who decides what's essential? Who determines what is essential to this person or that person? There are probably people that are doing gardening, right? So that they don't drink heavily or do something else. It's insane. Michael says this country was formed by the 3%. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. If you don't know about the 3%, I highly recommend you look into it. Only about 3% of the colonists actually fought the British. So it's something that you should really learn about. He says, Michael says, I'm working on an online debate to be broadcast on Facebook. I'd like that. Count me in. I think it'd be awesome. I can tell you a couple of people that I think won't do it, but we'll wait and see. I'm not gonna chum the waters. I'll just let that happen. Paul says our candidate, Tommy with the church. Yeah, look, man, he was way too happy, is all I'm going to say. He was way too happy about the First Amendment being infringed. That's scary to me. If you have a candidate that is just so giddy that the First Amendment is being trampled on, then what does that tell you about how he's going to be in Congress, right? The laws that he's going to vote for or against. Sir, papers, please, and I'm not asking, right? Right. And that's what we're starting to see. It's scary. It really is. And we see it more and more the longer this goes on, right? Because let's face it, the citizens are starting to get restless, right? It was one thing, well, maybe, and that's another thing too, is we're being told 2 weeks over and over and over. Oh, we'll see it surge in about 2 weeks, right? We heard that at the beginning of March? We'll see it surge in about 2 weeks and then it'll come down, right? We need to do 2 weeks of social distancing, 2 weeks of lockdown, 2 weeks of whatever they wanted to call it. And then it was another 2 weeks. And then it was another 2 weeks. Now they just extended it, to April, I want to say 20th. Was it 20th or 30th that Holcomb had extended it because, again, Another 2 weeks. So at what point do we say, okay, look, we've all done social distancing, we've all, stayed apart. At what point do we go, okay, it's time to restart this economy? Let's leave our people that are most at risk. Let's take care of them. Let's make sure that we reduce the risk as much as possible. Let's start, let's start looking at plans to get this going again, because the thing that really worries me with this is these various governmental figures that are seeing kind of the power trip. Speaking of governmental figures seeing the power trip, right? There's a couple of things that I have to tell you about. Number one, did you see Lightfoot on the news, how she told everybody to stay home and don't get a haircut? Now there's a reason I'm going down this route. She told everybody, stay home, don't get a haircut, right? Closing all the barbers, but she could go get a haircut, right? Because according to her, she's in the public eye. So it's okay for her to violate her own mandates. Now, the reason that's important is because if these things were as important as these politicians say, if they were as critical, as crucial, as life-saving as these so-called politicians claim they are, then wouldn't they be doing the thing they told you that was so important to do? So, I mean, that's just my thing. Speaking of haircuts, I got one today. The guy is awesome. He takes every precaution. He gloves, mask, the whole 9 yards. I think that's something that's really important. His name is Lewis McLaren, and you should look him up. He will hook you up, especially if you're out in the Michigan City area. Because let's face it, at least me, I don't know if you guys noticed, but on the side here, it was really starting to get like kind of fuzzy, and you can only brush that down so much. You also, trim this up again, all precaution. Me, whatever. But for those that, are concerned about that, Michael says you never have to be arrested to have your rights violated. Being afraid to shop under threat of arrest is a violation under prior restraint. Look, I agree. I agree. That is, yeah, black. Paul said black market cuts. That's right. Under the radar. Lightfoot is having people arrested in the 12th district, but downtown, so long as you are hot, female, and white, you can jog all you want. I don't know. I didn't see that. It would not surprise me. One of the things that I think is really interesting is the fact that the state of Indiana said, go enjoy the parks, right? Department of Natural Resources keeping the parks open, not the shooting ranges. I do want to point that out. Don't try to go to the shooting ranges. Those are closed. But anyway, they please celebrate, get some fresh air, get some outdoors, go enjoy the parks, except that many local officials are closing down parks. They're closing areas that look at Washington Park, right? Washington Park is a beautiful park. What's wrong with going to the beach as long as you maintain social distancing? They had a guy that got arrested, where was it, Florida, because he was swimming in the water or surfing? How the hell is that against the law? How the heck does that violate social distance? There was nobody anywhere around him, right? Let's see. Michael says, I saw it Sunday with my own eyes. That's crazy. Like I said, it doesn't surprise me. It's yet another symptom of these so-called politicians that are like, it's okay for me to violate the law, right? As far as like stock purchases and sales, so-called insider trading. It's okay for them to do that, but Martha Stewart gets sent to jail. Yeah, Chris, I agree with going to the range. You know how hard it is to find ammo now? I know. You go to many of these sporting goods stores and or wherever you get your ammo from, and it's like crickets. There's nothing, like one little box of 22 long rifle left, and it's just saying, please, please, leave me. Uh, oh, he says with, not without. Yeah, no, I knew what you meant. Look, the whole thing with the and why do they even close the ranges? That's what I don't understand. Especially the outdoor ones, the indoor ones, I still think they need to be open. But the outdoor ranges you're going to close. There's 6 feet between stations, and it makes no sense. No sense. When the buddy and I went there a while back, we were going to go. He's got his AK that he needs to sight in. I've got my AR I need to sight in. And we drove all the way down to JP, Jasper Pulaski, right? We get down there and there's a big sign, closed until further notice, check the DNR website. And I'm like, what? How does that make any sense? And again, it's because of this virus. And the thing that was really frustrating was I had just checked the JP website, right, the day before or the 2 days prior, so that I could find out what the hours were, right, so that I could make sure they would be yeah. Oh, like Chris says, AR-14, right. I'm listening to Joe Biden. I went out and got me one of them AR-14s, and let me tell you, they are fun. Michael says, so all the community mobility reports from Google show only an average of 13 to 14% increase in residential areas. Something tells me that staying home isn't affecting the spread of this virus very much as they say. I agree. Paul says we own and fund almost all the outdoor ranges. That's correct. Our taxes pay for these. All of these county outdoor ranges, we own them and we pay for them, but yet we are not allowed to utilize them. It's very, very frustrating. It makes me personally angry. What are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? One of the things that I think needs to happen after all this comes to a close one way or another is we need to see a large number of lawsuits. And I'm hoping that this will kind of teach government officials. I don't know if you guys saw, but South Dakota's governor, she's not putting up with that. She's like, we're a very different place than New York. People are trying to, they like signing petitions and everything to force her to order social distancing and close businesses. And are you kidding me? You actually have people, and it's sure you have people that are signing petitions because they're angry that their government is not taking away rights. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. We're living in clown world. There's no way that this is real life. This has to be a simulation, and I think there's a glitch in the matrix. There's something. It's nuts. Okay, how can you possibly think that that's okay? Wrong one. Chris says, hoping a Hammond Church fights their tickets. I hope so too. And you know what? I hope an attorney offers to represent them for free, because we need more places to stand up against this. And the messed up part is it was actually in the governor's order, so which kind of is the start of this, and I won't even go down how unconstitutional it is. I'm just going to say in his order, he said the churches should maintain social distancing, right? He didn't say close, maintain social distancing. So what's the issue, right? And of course, you have these people that are drunk on just the tiniest little bit of power. They've been waiting, right? They've been just salivating for the chance to sign these executive orders, these institute these violations of our rights. And look, I'm going to tell you, I don't know what I would do if I was governor. I don't know. What I can assure you that I would do is I would absolutely consider the rights of the citizens above all else. Yes, this virus is scary. Yes, we're concerned that, our older population that might be more susceptible to it may get it, are very young, are very old, those with compromised immune systems. I'm concerned about that too. I've got family that's older with compromised immune systems. My grandmother only has, part of one lung. It would be devastating for her to catch it. But we have to look at everything in a totalitarian way, right? If you start taking away people's rights, if you start telling people what they can and cannot do in the United States of America, how does that make us different than any other country out there? Every other country out there. It's really, really, really sad. It is. South Dakota on a normal day is already socially distant. Michael Strauss says, yeah, you're right. You're right. Paul says, DonaldRainwater.com is what I'm doing. Yeah, so that's an idea. I will tell you that I think we all need to really look at our options. Yes, I'm a Republican. I have Republican beliefs. I'm a conservative. But this two-party system, we really, really need to look at what it's doing. We're getting nothing done in our government. We're getting very little policy signed. We have the House, which is controlled, by the left. We have the Senate, which is controlled by the right, and Trump, which isn't really a Republican or a Democrat, even though, the Republican Party's like, oh yeah, a Republican. He's more of an independent, really. He's not as protective of the Second Amendment as I would like to see him be. To start with, I disagree with many of his decisions in that regard. But that aside, we're not getting much done because you see all these bills, and let me just point out they call him what is it? The Grim Reaper, Mitch McConnell, because all of the stuff that the House passes to make it to the Senate, he's not bringing it up. If you see what some of this ridiculous legislation is, then you would understand why. That's all I have to say. Some of this stuff is like, are you out of your mind? The Green New Deal is one of those things, and 5717 is another. There's no way it's going to get brought in front of the Senate. It's just not happening. So really what we have to look at is if we don't gain the House and we lose the Senate, as in we, I mean Republicans, but more than just Republicans, people who value the Constitution. If we lose the Senate, if we lose the presidency, and we do not retake the House, we're going to have even more constitutional violations. I can assure you, they are going to run rampant. We are going to lose our Second Amendment, at least in an effective way, because they are going to push through all this legislation that basically makes it impossible to go and buy a firearm. And that's just one example. It's going to be so much worse. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Paul says pro bono representation happening in Michigan for traveling violations already. Good. Traveling violations? They seriously stop and think about it. I understand the ones that want to believe that this is helping, the ones that want to believe that the social distancing and stuff is necessary in order to control the virus. I get where you're coming from, but really stop and look at the numbers, right? The numbers don't bear it out. The numbers don't justify shutting down the biggest economy in the world just overnight, right? Just completely shutting everything down. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. And the fact that so many people seem to be okay with it, the fact that we have, number one, our news media doesn't do their job. We know this, we've stated this before. Our media doesn't do their job, so they're not calling it out. They're not, like, I remember, it's been, granted, it's been a number of years since I was a kid, but I do remember as being a little kid, right, and watching on TV, these reporters would ask these hard-hitting questions to governors and senators. I remember watching the Iran-Contra thing on TV, right, the trial with Ollie North, right, Oliver North, Reagan, and all the stuff, and Bush was deeply involved in that. But Senior, I don't think Junior was bright enough or old enough at that point to be involved, but that's another story. Look, we have rights violations that are going on, and our news media is not talking about it. I did see a clip, and about the news organizations and the various channels and stuff. It's so hard to know where to get your news from. It's so hard. That's why I do, part of the reason why I do this, so I can show you, look at this, look at that. This is what happened today. I have people that show me, the things that happened today. We're the news now. Regular people are the news now. And I make no bones about it. I'm not a reporter. I'm going to give you my opinion on this stuff. But always, I urge people, read it yourself, look into things yourself, because even the most so-called well-respected journalists out there, CBS News has been caught twice in the last month lying, right? Twice. We know CNN, but CBS had a modicum of respect left, I thought. No, no, they got caught lying about the video of the hospitals. They got caught lying about the video of the nurse, right? The so-called nurse. I linked that in my last video. It's disgusting. And it frustrates me because I'm just kind of off on a tiny little tangent here for a minute. You get those people, right, on your pages, especially when you run for office. You get those people on your pages that are like, oh, you are sharing fake news, or your research is off on this. But when you bring up a massive news organization like CBS getting caught lying twice, they're nowhere to be found. Their answer is, oh yeah, that sucks. But yet you'll write pages to me because I happen to share something from, let's say, the Federalist versus CNN, or Fox News versus MSNBC, because it's right-wing points, whatever. But I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate y'all coming and joining me. And so let's see here. Today's Tuesday. The day after tomorrow, guys, I have Mike Cargile here from California's 35th Congressional District. He's running for Congress out there. We're going to get him on. We're going to talk about his experiences out there and how it's different from what we're encountering here. For those of you who don't know, 35th Congressional District is kind of part of, it's LA, but it's not. It's the greater LA area. It's Ontario. It's San Bernardino, that area, kind of little northeast of LA. Check it out. But I'm really looking forward to that. He's a good guy. I talked to him for a while. He was on Patriots in Tune, which is the podcast that I was on before. He is, again, running for Congress. I think he's got the nomination out there, though. Unlike me, we're not quite that far along yet in our elections. But listen, I'm going to reach out to you, Chris, and see when you're available, because I really do want you to come on. I think we'll have a great conversation. I've already talked to Mike Strauss about being on. I think it's going to be awesome, guys. I'm going to try to mix it up for you, try to get, so it's a little bit more entertaining stuff because I can, look, sharing articles and stuff is all well and good and mildly entertaining for some, but I think I'd like to do a little more, have more meaningful conversations, and the way that I'm going to do that is by having some guests on. So if you guys know anybody that would, want to come on and talk or debate or just have a conversation, let me know. I'll do my best to get them on. I'm going to see, like for example, Guy Relford had me on his show, the gun guy. I'm going to see if maybe at some point he can come on mine. I think that would be cool. Stuff like that. I think it'd be awesome. So I appreciate you joining me once again. To shout out to the guy who took care of my hair. I appreciate it. Look him up. As a matter of fact, let me make sure I spell it right. I'm going to drop his name here, especially on Facebook. You can look him up. I want to make sure I get the last name right. It is, I'm going to drop it in the comment here. Look him up on Facebook. That's where he does his stuff at. And you know what? That does bring up another point. There's his name. We have to support our local businesses, right? Especially in times like this. I know it might be easier to go to a big chain store or something. If you can, if it's possible, get it from a local small business, especially right now, these places are hurting. Instead of like hitting the Taco Bell or McDonald's drive-through, which yes, some of these are owned by independents, but go to a local restaurant, have them do carry out, have them do delivery, support your local business, have them put your money to them because they need it. They need it so badly right now. They are hurting. Most people are staying inside. Most people aren't ordering food. Help them out. And not just with food, but like this guy, he will take care of you. Here, I'm going to put it up on screen so you can see. His name is Lewis McLaren, and he will take care of you. You get you trimmed up really nice here. See, now he couldn't do much with up here because as you see, there's not a lot up there, but it's there. You just can't really see it. It's really light. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, and I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, right? 7 p.m. Central Time. God bless you, and God bless the USA.